Hello, welcome to GTV Breakfast. This is GTV Breakfast News. I am Altiti Saida Sadek. We're coming to you live from Studio 1 here at GBC Kanda. And you see that I and my co-hosts are clad in our Black Stars jersey because we're just building up to that game with Madagascar in the AFCON qualifiers. But a lot of stories making headlines this morning. We'll do politics, we'll do health, we'll do trade and business, and we'll take you to the international front. Now, wherever you are in Africa and the world, you can watch us on DSTV channel 278. On social media, we're streaming at GTV Ghana. Look for verified handles and follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. Let's start off with crime and from the courts. Now, the Human Rights Division of the Accra High Court, presided over by Justice Nicholas Abodakpi, has issued an interim injunction restraining the office of the Special Prosecutor from executing an arrest warrant against Mr. Charles Bisu, a former secretary of the defunct Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, pending the determination of the substantive matter. The other last 10 days, now the office of the Special Prosecutor placed Mr. Bisu on its wanted list for corruption and corruption-related activities. This follows Mr. Bisu's refusal to turn himself in to the OSP, which obtained a warrant for his arrest.
Is being investigated by the Office of the Special Prosecutor for alleged acts of corruption in his work as the former secretary of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. The OSP obtained a warrant for the arrest of Mr. Bisu after he failed to honor an invitation by the office. Naneje Bafuewa, a lawyer for Mr. Bisu, said his client would not turn himself in to the OSP because the court order was not properly secured. According to the lawyer, there is another suit in the Human Rights Court by Mr. Charles Bisu where he complains of warrant and breach of his fundamental human rights. Mr. Bisu subsequently filed a fresh suit asking the High Court to set aside the warrant against him on the basis that the OSP is violating his human rights. This is the third time Mr. Bisu has filed a suit of this nature against the OSP, with the previous two seeking an Accra High Court to prevent the OSP from investigating him because the subject of the investigation had already been investigated by the Criminal Investigation Division of the Ghana Police Service. The investigation is as a result of an investigative piece published by Anas Arimiyao Anas, which allegedly implicates Mr. Bisu in a compromising situation on his position as a frontrunner in the fight against illegal mining. His lawyer argues that once the police had concluded its investigation into the corruption documentary, any investigation and prosecution of the same matter would amount to a review of the investigation and findings already done by the police. On Thursday morning, the Human Rights Court granted Mr. Charles Bisu's application, executing the arrest warrant it purports to have procured.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, says it has the power to arrest any person reasonably suspected to have committed corruption or corruption-related offences. The general public is advised that in the exercise of its police powers, the Office of the Special Prosecutor can arrest without a warrant any person it reasonably suspects of having committed corruption or corruption-related offences. Now, the OSP tweeted after the Human Rights Court 2 in Accra slapped an interim injunction on it and its agents are assigned from executing the arrest warrant issued for former presidential staffer Charles Cromwell Onuawuntio Bisu. The warrant was issued on Tuesday, June 13, following the refusal by lawyers of the former secretary to the dissolved Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, IMCIM, to honor the OSP's invitation. Charles Bisu, a former Western Region Secretary for the New Patriotic Party, NPP, had gone to court to demand documents backing the OSP's invitation to him over investigations of corruption and corruption-related activities on illegal mining. Nonetheless, the OSP issued the arrest warrant. and we'll bring you any more updates on that corruption scandal. Now, the ban on jamming and noise making in the Gamashi and other areas under Gbese, Otublom, Sempe, Akamajin, Asre, Abola, and Nglesialata has been lifted with a call for peace and unity to ensure development. The Gbese Manche Ni Ayibunti II beats the Odado twin drums to signify the lifting of the month-long ban on drumming and noise making.
The ban was to allow the traditional priest to meditate and pray for a bumper harvest prior to the Homowa festival. Today, the month-long ban on drumming and noise making has been lifted. The Gbese Manche beat the Odadao drums 3 times to lift the ban. The lifting of the ban means that people living in towns and villages under Gbese, Otublohun, Sempe, Akamajin, Asre, Abola, and Nglesialata can now use musical instruments, clap, and play music during their social and religious activities. The ritual performed by the traditional priest also serves as a signal that the annual Homowa was imminent. The festival has its origins in the migration of the Gans from Israel many years ago, during which they experienced drought and famine but were finally saved. After overcoming those challenges, they mark the festival to commemorate their eventual victory over hunger. The Gbese Manche Ni Ayibunti II called for peace among the people for development. The Member of Parliament for the Dodiodio constituency, Nilante Vanderpoy, also called for togetherness.
Another 3-story block.
Some citizens of Gamashi spoke to GBC News. The traditional ritual, which heralds the annual Homowa, was witnessed by many, including tourists.
Now, Thursday was a turn of Lankwantana, Ga East, Adentan, and La Dadekotopon municipal assemblies to account for how the Gary project funds allocated for this year were made of use. After inspecting the projects, a deputy local government minister, Mr. Martin J. Mensah Kosa, has directed metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies in Accra to strictly enforce building codes to help curb the incidence of flooding in the city. Yaira Lowe has more.
13 flood hotspots have been identified at La Nkwantanan Municipal Assembly and are being worked on with funds from the Garrett project to deal with flooding in those areas. Kweyman School area, Medina Ritz Junction and Kenke House drains, we were told, are desilted. The Assembly also organized flood-related interventions amidst sensitization of the community members. As June will have it, the entourage was welcomed with rains on its way to inspect work at a storm drain at Kweyman. Our camera captured the rainwater flowing into the open drains along the streets. Abokobi Boy Drainage, Atomic Hacho Rabbit Drains, Domi Markets in the Ga East Municipal Assembly are areas affected by floods when it rains. According to the Assembly, 5 drains have been desilted in the municipality. The Director of Planning at the Ga East Municipal Assembly, Mr. Daniel Ochri, told the media that people living in this property close to the buffer inspected at the Agbogba fitting shop are not at risk. He says the Assembly will rather guide the owners to realign the wall. The MCE of Adenta Municipal Assembly, Mr. Daniel Ninoy Adumwa, engaged the media on some reservations after dredging works at Prisons Junction drainage.
Silt that we remove ends up on the embankment, on the banks. Indeed, if we are able to do something to hold the material on the banks without it coming back into the water, it will help us all.
La Dade Kotopong Municipal Assembly was the last municipality visited on Thursday. Inspecting the Chado drains, the Deputy Minister for Local Government warned that people should stay off buffer zones.
It's in the plan of the Assembly, the Local Government Ministry and government for that matter, to let people stay clearly off the buffer zone to protect human lives. And so, as part of making sure that these drains are properly desilted, we also make sure the law is enforced and that anybody who is building in the way of the buffer area is cleared off. That we will not compromise.
The Assembly recommended that some of the earth channels, like the Kojo and Zenith earth channels, are given attention by constructing storm drains to hold back the floods. For GBC News, Yaira Lawe reporting.
On environmental sustainability, the 2023 Green Ghana planting exercise has exceeded its 10 million target and recorded over 11.5 million. This figure is minus 4 regions from up north, that's Northing, Northeast, Upper East and the Savannah regions. The Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Mr. John Alote, explaining during a post-Green Ghana Day media briefing in Accra, said the four only had a commemorative planting as they await the rains to engage in the full-scale planting exercise.
In a presentation on the 2023 Green Ghana Day seedlings distributed, the Ashanti region topped the regional target list with 3,147,306 actual seedlings distributed from an initial target of 2,300,000, representing a 137% distribution rate. Aside the Ashanti region, Eastern, Western, North, Central, Bono, Ahafo, Upper West and the Greater Accra regions also exceeded their targets. Total forest reserve planting hit 61.3%, higher from the initial 50% target, with the remainder 38.7% planted in homes, medians of roads and other locations. The Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Mr. John Alote, mentioned the top 5 seedlings distributed per demand as cashew, oil palm, coconut, orange and timber species. The Forestry Commission commended some lead private plantation companies and churches who contributed immensely to the success of the projects, including the Presbyterian Church, the Church of Pentecost, the Apostolic Church, the Catholic Church and the Methodist Church. EcoPlanet Bamboo West Africa from Ghana, Sakam Savannah Company, Global Green Gold, among others. He also commended the Muslim community, particularly the Chief Imam, for their support. The national chairman of the 2023 Green Ghana Planning Committee, who is also a Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources in charge of forestry, Mr. Benito Wusubio, says effective monitoring and supervision of the seedlings planted is key. So far, 11,530,672 seedlings have been distributed across the country.
Ghana is quickening her natural capital accounting strategy, a process to calculate the national resource stocks and its economic contributions to the national economy. A better valuation of Ghana's natural capital, including the forests and water bodies, will increase its reported net wealth and make progress for its inclusion in GDP and rebasing of national wealth. The report by Shirley Bewa.
Ghana's climate is changing. Fisheries are depleting. Soils are degraded. Water supplies are overstretched. What is needed is a measure that goes beyond just the annual output of a country, termed as GDP. A measure that looks at wealth in its entirety, combining produced, social, human, and importantly, natural capital. African states, including Ghana, now acknowledge that natural capital accounting could be the key to building a more sustainable world.
You cannot calculate GDP without looking at the impacts of extractive industries on our natural capital accounting. Let me give a quick example. We've been mining gold. We've been taking out oil, right? Now, this gives a lot of boost to our GDP. However, have we actually looked at the cost of this exploitation to the environment? This needs to be inculcated into our GDP.
A high-level forum in Accra is strengthening collaboration among key institutions. The plan is to collect data needed to understand the contributions of nature to the economy.
Natural capital accounts can support the delivery of the SDGs by ensuring that natural capital is integrated into planning and implementation processes at the national, sectorial, and local levels. We must address the data gaps, develop robust methodologies, and build institutional capacities to ensure the accuracy and reliability of our natural capital assessments.
Government statistician Professor Samuel Enin said going green GDP means integrating natural capital accounting (NCA) in the computation of the country's GDP.
Next week, we're going to release our gross domestic product independent of our natural capital. And what this is going to bring to us is that going forward, we're going to adjust our economic performance management with our natural resources. So once we are able to account for our natural account, what we're going to do is we're going to produce the standard GDP and also produce an adjusted GDP. And the adjusted GDP is going to be based on this exercise.
The NCA process in Ghana began in 2022, led by the Environmental Protection Agency, Ghana Statistical Service, the Ministry of Finance, National Development Planning Commission (NDPC) with support from the World Bank. It comes at a time that Ghana has dethroned South Africa and taken the leading place as Africa's top gold producer. For GBC News, Shelley Bewa reporting.
Let's go to the north in Tamale and look at security. Military commanders in the West African sub-region want to collaborate to deal with violent extremism in the sub-region. At a military training camp in Daboya in the Savannah region, the U.S. Army Southern European Task Force Africa Major General Todd Westmond said the threat of terrorism in the sub-region requires a professionally trained force to counter. A simulation exercise took place at Daboya under the umbrella of Exercise African Lion, where some U.S. Army personnel and their Ghanaian counterparts contained an attack on the Daboya camp and successfully neutralized the enemy, killing many and arresting several others.
Exercise Africa Lion is a joint military exercise that seeks to bolster collaboration between the U.S. Army and their counterparts across some 18 nations globally. In Ghana, the exercise is considered an opportunity to boost the skills of Ghanaian troops in preventing and containing violent extremism, which is fast spreading from the Sahel towards countries along the west coast of Africa, such as Togo, Benin, La Côte d'Ivoire, and Ghana. Addressing the troops after the simulation exercise at the Daboya military training camp, the commander of the U.S. Army Southern European Task Force, Todd Westmond, emphasized that such exercises are necessary for countering global threats, including terrorism.
In Ghana, we conducted joint and combined training in operational planning, small unit tactics, medical engagements, and civil military humanitarian actions. Each activity has enhanced our interoperability, they have enhanced our readiness, and they have enhanced our friendships. Each activity has demonstrated for all to see our cohesion, our resolve, and our shared commitment to security in Africa.
In attendance were some military chiefs from Togo, Benin, and La Côte d'Ivoire. The Chief of Army Staff of Ghana Armed Forces, Major General Thomas Opon-Pepa, expressed satisfaction with the preparedness of Ghanaian soldiers to deal with any external threats.
In order to fight emerging threats, there's the need for collaboration, there's the need for jointness, there's the need for unity. And I can see from the crowd a mix of Americans, Ghanaians, Beninois, Ivorians, and so on and so forth. It tells you how we have to deal with emerging threats. No country can do it alone. So joint operations, joint collaboration have all come to stay.
This year's edition of the program is being hosted by Ghana, Tunisia, Morocco, Senegal and Djibouti, with more than 10,000 participants from 18 countries.
Let's take you to the international front now. Nigeria's new president, Bola Tinubu, has suspended indefinitely the head of the country's anti-corruption agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Abdul Rashid Bawa was asked to step aside in order to allow a proper investigation into his conduct while in office. Although it's common for the head of the anti-corruption agency to be removed once a new president gets into office, the government statement said the suspension followed weighty allegations of abuse of office leveled against him. There have been a number of corruption allegations against the 43-year-old Mr. Bawa since he was appointed the EFCC chairman in 2021, which he has denied. In an interview with BBC, a former governor of the Northern Zamfara state accused Mr. Bawa of allegedly demanding a $2 million, that's £1.58 million bribe from him. He denied the allegation. Nigeria is ranked 150th out of 180 countries in Transparency International's Perception of Corruption Index. Unfortunate news are survivors from a fishing boat that sank off southern Greece in one of Europe's worst migrant disasters say up to 100 children may have been on board. At least 78 people have already been confirmed dead in the disaster, but many more could still be missing at sea, with reports suggesting that up to 750 people were aboard the vessel. 9 people, including several Egyptians, have been arrested on suspicion of people trafficking. The Coast Guard has been criticized for not intervening earlier, but authorities say their offers of aid were refused. Rescuers are still searching the area where the boat capsized almost 50 nautical miles off the southwest coast. As hopes of finding more survivors dwindle, the boat had departed empty from Egypt and stopped at the Libyan port of Tobruk, where it picked up migrants destined for Italy. We'll bring you the weather updates now. And it's time for our weather update. It's a weekend. Of course, the activities out there, and people want to know if there'll be sunshine or rain. Let's go to the phone lines and speak to Frederick Kujo. Good morning, Frederick.
Good morning, Maltese.
Great having you back. How is the weather going to fare for our weekend, outgoers and party lovers?
Well, a very good morning to all your viewers. For now through to the weekend, more of cloudy conditions will be seen for the early hours of the morning, with some slight intermittent rains, mostly for the early hours of the morning. But then as the day progresses into the afternoon, sunny conditions and then some partly cloudy weather will prevail, mostly for the afternoon hours, especially for areas along the coastline. So we don't expect so much rainfall activities for this weekend. More of sunshine will be seen right from now, Saturday and then Sunday. Areas where we expect thunderstorms and then rainfall activities are areas more into the northern half of the country, that is the 5 northern regions, and then also some areas in the forest of Eastern OT region and Volta region, and then some areas in the Ashanti region are likely to have thunderstorms and then rainfall activities. Also, temperatures will be quite low, ranging from about 23 to 34 degrees Celsius across the entire country for the weekend.
But how is the sea? How are water bodies looking? The Black Volta, the Sea Fisher Folk, is the weekend also good weather conditions sailing to catch some fish?
Well, for our maritime environment, more of cloudy conditions and then some pockets of rainfall activities will be seen for the marine environment. However, the sea waves are a bit rough for the entire weekend, so we expect that fisher folks will be quite cautious. But then areas along the Volta Lake are likely to have some isolated thunderstorms or rainfall activity for Saturday and then Sunday.
Right. Thank you so much, Frederick Kujo, for those updates which our viewers appreciate, especially our outgoers, our fisher folk as well. But that's it for GTV Breakfast News. If you want more of the weather update, you can go to the GMET website. And if you want more news from Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, you can go to our website at gbcghanaonline.com. I am Malti Tisaida Sadek and my co-hosts are joining me now. Yes, very unconventional. Scatter day. Hello. The Madagascar game, like we are just going to play.
We are playing, Papa.
Yes, we are playing. We want them
I bet come on that camera, make you see what I say for them.
Let's look at ourselves. Oh, we look really
all
good.
The
colors.
All the colors with the Western.
Good morning. We
are winning 2-0. Prediction.
2 is good.
Football is a game of chances. So
okay.
Please, have you met Manchester City?
No.
Let the Liverpool people keep quiet.
Before we continue with our show, yesterday I went begging for money.
Yeah. Where?
So I left
in the office.
In the office.
I remember.
From 9:30 to 11, I just went out to people and said, Chemsika.
Miko, I gave you money.
This is how much I raised.
What? There's coins too.
50,
Let me count
70, 90, 110, 130,
I'm just chilling.
40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 200, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 300, 10, 20, 320, 329 is here. And when you add the coins, it's almost 350 CDs. Okay, look at the coins. 350 CDs.
Plenty. Wow.
All I did was I asked.
Director Ray says that we'll share the money together.
Some coins falling.
2 people gave me 50 CDs each. Very generous. Both of them are ladies. One person gave me 10 pesos.
Is it because it was you?
The 10 pesos is what
I was just asking.
These are just generous.
Random people, colleagues, and then strangers. And one thing I learned. No. One thing I learned from asking for money is that one thing I learned is that a couple of things I learned. You see, if somebody asks you for money, if you don't have, just tell the person and go. Some people ask me lots of questions.
What are you using it for?
What do you want the money for? I said, I want to buy food. What do you want to eat? I said, I want to eat what? How much is the watch?
Let's buy the watch for you so I'm giving you the money.
And then they don't give you money. So they ask you all this money and they don't give you
questions and they don't give.
Okay. Women are more generous than men. Men are more skeptical of people who ask for money.
Especially they are also men.
Yes. And I think if you ask,
you will receive.
That's so 350 Ghana cedis I received from
in an hour.
I think when you don't have money, just tell people. And if the person wants an amount of money, you don't have it, don't stress the person. I felt quite embarrassed sometimes just asking. It was an experiment I was doing.
Okay.
But people would quiz you and ask you so many questions. If you don't have,
but so this is the amount of money people make in a day.
What's in a day?
1.5 hours. So
1.5
hours. Almost
300 Ghana
cedis. Tax free.
Yeah.
And this is cash.
Yeah. So all of you who are wondering why I was asking, I was saying it was an experiment. Okay.
Yes, everybody was wondering.
Yeah. People used to laugh. People used to say, "Oh, you want money?" I said, "Yeah, I want money." They said, "Why? You never given me money before." I'm just asking. You know.
I think it's true.
It was so weird. Yeah, it was very weird.
Because you just said.
So knowing you, everybody was wondering what you were up to.
Yeah.
Somebody said, what happened? I said, nothing happened. I'm only asking for money. Said, I've never asked you for money before, have I? Somebody said, I don't speak Tree. So,
and Caps Tree is it's improving.
Back to the show.
Money.
Thank you. A lot of money.
Today is just Friday. We are happy to be. The run is here. You're counting money. So what will we do with this money? Now that I'm thinking about it.
I'm going to invest this money.
Declare.
Into what?
I'm going to invest it.
You have to declare.
Declaration.
I'll take it to the stock exchange. And I'll call it GBC fund. Because all the money came from GBC.
Or we'll put it in the TV license fund.
Thank you. This is 10 people's TV license. Almost. Yeah. If I add 10 CDs to it, that is 6 CDs.
Listen.
Times 10.
That's
this is 10.
It should be Friday every day. I have brilliant ideas.
Charlie, what do we have?
Charlie, headlines with the ladies. Akosia Hansen and Nacho and Yope will be sitting with me to look at all the stories that are in the newspapers and elsewhere. So that will be on my side of the team.
Okay.
You're having a discussion on data harvesting.
Data harvesting, yes. Those of you who say, "Oh, I can take money from Fufu Credit and all those people," and then since they are unlicensed,
you just spend the money
again.
Somebody is doing something with your data, and you'll be scared. So you watch out. In a couple of minutes, we're going to do that, all right? There's Father's Day conversations, right?
Yes, indeed. Happy Father's Day in
advance
to you.
Happy Father's Day to Daddy.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to my father.
I had a conversation.
Happy Father's Day to my dad at Awudome Cemetery and all the fathers he left behind who are looking after me awesomely. Some people are not part.